And hygiene, I think people think that like people that be homeless, like we don't be bathing. They be thinking that we just out here dirty, like just not doing nothing. Like like that's not I'm sorry. Like I'll just like cuz I remember like people always think that usually you're homeless because you're dumb, you don't work, and they think you don't bathe and you don't eat. Um just ask. But they like for us, we had a gym membership. We had a gym membership to go to the gym to go shower. And a lot of times I would try to work for gyms so I could get free memberships, and sometimes I also worked for nursing homes or like yeah, I remember I worked for a nursing home actually. It was a great place. And I showered there. No one knew though. I just I stayed late one day cuz well, actually I wasn't staying late. It's just that the job was so physically demanding that I literally was working 2 hours after my shift was over because I couldn't lift stiff up to get the work done. So after I finished my work, I just went downstairs and showered cuz I found a shower. And I did that. Sometimes I did find showers to shower at. Like I remember one time it was a hurricane and we were at the hospital because it had a garage and it could protect the car and it was safer. And we just stayed at the hospital and I think I found a shower there too. I don't remember if I showered there though, but I remember I found one and I was like, I'm gonna find that one so I can go shower there. But no, like we had a gym membership, or I worked at gym so I could shower for free and not have to pay for a gym membership. But baby wipes, hot water, soap, body wash, like all of those things still are happening in people's cars as well as in homelessness. I don't understand how people don't realize that like if like all these people that are talking about van life, their lives are very similar to being homeless if they're actually living in their vans because they don't have showers, they don't have bathrooms, they're using baby wipes. And I'm pretty sure they probably have used a plastic bag or a bottle. They're just not telling you. I'm gonna leave that there. um, Another thing is a lot of people make it seem like being homeless is like, how can you do that? How will you survive? How will you be safe? There were safety concerns, especially like the first month. I was very not even a month. Like the first couple years, I was extremely scared. I was like, if people take our car, I will have nothing. I have no keepsakes. I have no clothes. I have no any of my stuff, and I was very afraid of that. Thank God nothing ever happened. Somebody did try to break into the car one time while I was in the car, but they didn't get in, and I I could I don't know if I want to talk about that, but I always carried a knife. I'm gonna leave that there. So yeah. But in terms of safety though, like you have to be very aware of where you park and where you're at and who's around you. So that was definitely a thing that was a constant, but that's also a constant if you don't live in a car. Like, but if you're more in the same places, you can't be in the same places all the time because then people see that you're living in the car. They might try to target you, they might try to set you up. This lady did try to kind of set us up, but it didn't really work because we're like looking at her and she's looking at us. And I'm like, why are you here? And then their friend drove by and then they were looking at us. They're looking at me, I'm looking at them, and they didn't do anything. And then I went to sleep, and then that was it. So, yeah. People try stuff. I got stalked one time. There's a guy stalking me. If I went somewhere, he would randomly show up there. He would follow me around and just stare at me in the library. I told the library. The library told him to leave me alone, and he did. Also caught him on camera, and he did stop and then start, and then I just moved away. That was it. Like, you just create space. That's all you can do, and just be very careful of your surroundings and not tell people where you're gonna be, as well as not be around the same places because yeah, then they develop your routine. So we didn't really have a routine. We just watched out for ourselves. And then you also have to think about where you're gonna sleep a lot. Like, you can't sleep at the same place because then, like, people think that, oh, like, homeless people are just sleeping at Lowe's. Like, it's Lowe's. We did not sleep at Lowe's that much. Or they think that everyone sleeps at Walmart. I don't know if you guys realize this, but like when COVID happened and once Walmart became like not 24 hours, Walmart told people to stop sleeping in their parking lot. So we got kicked out of Walmart basically as soon as COVID became not a thing again. And as soon as they cut their hours, they stopped letting people be in their parking lot. As well as you have to realize Walmart is ginormous and it's also a lit parking lot. So you're not going to sleep in a lit parking lot where you're not supposed to sleep at. So that's not really a thing anymore. So personally, sleeping at a lot of times it's safer to stay up and then park somewhere and then leave before sunrise because they're probably not going to kick you off their property if they don't know you're there. So, like, or like spaces that aren't housed by people. So, like, if there's a grass field and, well, like, if there's a space between parking lots that aren't theirs, sleep there. Um, Sleep at hotel parking lots if it's a large parking lot and like people may not notice. You come very late and you leave very early. Or I think somebody also talked about Crackle Barrel, but if you're actually homeless, you're not gonna talk to people as a homeless person. At least we didn't. You're not gonna talk to a homeless, like a business, and be like, hey, can I park in your parking lot for free? They're gonna be like, no, you bring my brand down, and no, they don't want you there because you're not supposed to be there. I don't know why people think that Crackle Barrel is like the best thing. Because, like, people that are talking about, like, they went in a, like, they were in an RV sleeping at Crackle Barrel. Like, they don't want you there. Even a lot of these places don't even want RVs there. So why would they want a homeless person there? Like, I don't know where that came from, but yeah, never slept at a Crackle Barrel. And then I don't know, but anyway, but just finding places to sleep and finding, actually, you know what's crazy? We actually slept at the Holy Land, like the parking lot next to Holy Land. That was my favorite place to sleep at, and we slept there a lot. Don't tell them. But it was like secluded areas that are abandoned, but like still not too off in the brush, because that's how you get kidnapped or trafficked. You don't want that. And people don't talk about they traffic men too. Like, you can't, like, people are out here thinking that like homeless dudes, like, you know how people be on, like, there'll be like homeless people sleeping on the sidewalk and it'd be like a guy on a bench. Yeah, that's because they stayed up all night because it wasn't safe for them to sleep. Like, people aren't thinking about this stuff. Like, you they're sleeping there because at night they had to stay awake or it was cold and it was unsafe. Like, or like, if you've heard, there's people that literally were like, yeah, I took drugs at night so that I could stay awake because they traffic men and they attack men too. That is true. Like, no. And then you also have to think about it too. I've been like, there's these places that have like where it'll be like, oh, you can shower here, or you could bathe here, or you can get food here. I remember I went to one here, and I just wanted a Bible because I didn't have a Bible, but I didn't want to pay for one because I just couldn't afford one. But I wanted a Bible study, and I can't even tell you how many men like were coming towards me like they were pimps. There's dudes that literally sit there and watch people that are also homeless to see if they can pimp you, and they also try to befriend you to see what they can get out of you sometimes as other homeless people. So it's like everyone thinks it's unsafe, but it's like it's just everybody. You can't like be trusting to everybody. You have to be cautious. And another time, I don't know, like I've never been to prison. This is gonna sound funny. I've never been to prison, but I have watched 60 Days In, and the mentality of homeless women that are also around each other is very much how the mentality is in prison that I've seen on TV, like the culture. I went to a place where I was literally just desperate for a shower, and I needed to change. I needed to wash my clothes, and it was this foundation that does that, and it was like I refused to talk to anybody, and I would not touch anybody's stuff. I would not sit near anybody. I don't laugh. I don't smile. I don't conversate. If there's a question, you don't ask it to me. And I did not engage with anybody except the people that were supposed to be helping me. And I don't touch anything. And you can't use my charger. Like, none of that is happening. We're not friends. Um, Not because you don't want to help people or you don't like people. It's just that you don't know where they are. You don't know why they're talking to you. And a lot of people will try to befriend you to see what they can get out of you and not actually improve themselves. A lot of people were not doing the stuff that they were supposed to do. And I'm not going to get caught up in all that. So, yeah, I think I went there once and then I never went back because it wasn't safe. And they would have days for women, and then they would have days for men to shower and use the space. But the men would come on the days the women were there and watch the women receive services, and I'm not, no, like we're not doing that. And some of those men weren't even like knowing the women that were there. They were just there watching. And people that are trying, even people that volunteer to help homeless people, you have to be careful too. You can't be like, oh sweetie honey baby, no. Like, no. You have to set boundaries with everybody, but even more so with people that are in that type of situation, because they can latch on to you and they will be like, you need to help me, help me, help me, and I didn't do that. It's more of like, you you want to have people that care about you, but like, to me and for me, I always had like the mentality of like, this isn't anybody's situation, and this I didn't expect anybody to help me out of it. But I felt like if you're talking to me, like, there has to be some type of friendship, but I don't expect you to like take care of this for me. But I also don't want friendships that like aren't mutually serving each other. And I don't mean that like out of homelessness, but I just mean like in general. But a lot of times when people are homeless, they are by themselves, and they they aren't used to people being kind to them. So when people are so deprived, sometimes they latch on to people. And if people want to have friendships with people that are homeless, or like just interactions, you gotta be careful, because sometimes people will be like, it's just unhealthy sometimes, is my point. But yeah, those are some of the things I dealt with, and just some of the things that I was careful about, and um just I wouldn't say well, yeah, like just concerns or struggles or etc. But have a good day. I hope this was enlightening in some way.